I've never heard the term award-winning cop before.
Award-winning. well, this is the show, Montreal, My City. This is a big interview. You know, I spoke to a lot of important people, but this is going to be one of the best ones here. So on Saturday, on October 15th, Optimista presents Courage. It'll be featuring a special guest, Gamal G Turawa. Hopefully I didn't mess up his last name, but we'll call him Mr. G. Actually, Mr. G, the Met is like the Metropolitan Police in London.
It's London, yeah. It covers the whole of London. So I know American or Canadian systems are completely different to the way the police run in the UK. Yeah,
okay.
So we have 44 forces in different areas. Yeah.
Boy, I was given your documentary, pieces of the documentary, The Black Cop, and it was emotional. First and foremost, on behalf of every Black person in the city, we want to tell you thank you for your courage, being the first openly gay Black Met police officer. There's a lot of monikers there, right? Openly gay, Black, you're a male in the Met. I want to talk about a little bit about some of the things you're going to talk about in your keynote address. But before we get to that, what was that experience like? You know, if you can encompass your Black cop experience being part of the Met, what, you know, because I asked myself when I saw your video, what would lead a Black man, openly gay, and at that time I suspect the Met was, you know, based on the videos, they're racist. I'll be quite honest, they're racist. They're racist. So that's one part of it, and of course the other part of, you know, you being openly gay, which brings another obstacle as well.
I mean, when I joined, I wasn't openly gay.
Okay,
right. You know, I suppressed and I hid my sexual orientation until I was about 40 odd years old. So, so that was another battle that was going on inside of me. I couldn't hide my color. Right, and it didn't even start with the police. I mean, that's the whole point of the story. The whole point of the story is that we all have baggage, and our baggage informs our choices. Yeah, and my baggage was I'd spent the first 8 years of my life with a white foster family. Right, so I'm in a little village in a place called Kent, where for the first 8 years I was the only Black face I saw.
Wow. I love Kent too. I love the UK. I've been to London. I love Kent. You were the only Black face in Kent. How did that make you feel, G?
I was a kid. But one of the things I remember is almost felt like white people seemed to have this happy life and I wasn't part of it. You know, the books I read in school, the programs I watched on TV, everything was about white people.
Yeah.
Right? So to me as a kid, felt like there was this whole world that I didn't belong to. And I remember things like my foster mother would say to me, will you stop giving away your sweets and your pocket money? Because what I was trying to do was trying to buy myself into that world.
Right.
And then when I got to about 8 years old, I came home from school and there was a Black man in the living room. The first time I had seen a Black guy who wasn't on TV.
Okay.
And he took me, and my foster mother said, "This is your dad," and I'm like,
"Wow!"
To give it even, you wanted those little hints and tips, right? For the first 8 years, I was called Victor.
But that's not your name.
That's not my name, but that's what my foster parents called me. So for the first 8 years, I was Victor, and then overnight, I was Victor who went to Sunday school, right? Overnight, I was changed to Gamal, and I now had to go to a mosque.
Oh, how? What?
And I went from an all-white environment to a predominantly Black environment.
Overnight, just like that.
Literally overnight. I went from having my own bedroom to sleeping in a bed with 3 girls and told they were your sisters.
Damn. That's wild, G. That's wild.
Yeah, and food changed. Yeah. I went from fish and chips to Nigerian food.
Was it a good transition for you?
Well, hey, really now it's worked out for me, man.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. Yeah. Where did this I won't say love, but where did this interest come for you to say, you know what, I want to become a Black police officer, or I just want to become a police officer?
I had two experiences when I was a kid with the police. The first one, I was about 9 years old, and this is in the film. Both of these incidents are in the film. And I was about 9 years old, and I was walking to school with a little white Irish lad, Eugene. And there was a police officer up ahead. And Eugene goes running up to him and starts talking to him. And this police officer turns around, says something to him, and then puts his hand in his pocket and gives him a coin. Thinking, oh, the police are giving away money. So I go running up as this kid, right? Can I swear here?
Yeah, you can swear.
Right. And I go running up to this police officer as an 8-9-year-old kid, and I say, "Hello, Mr. Policeman." And he turns around and he looks at me and he says, "Fuck off, you black bastard."
Wow.
Right? That was when I first realized what it meant to be black. At that point, I hated police. Right?
Yeah, rightfully so.
You go home, and then there was always conversations about racism and the police. And now, because of that incident, I started paying attention. We had things like the Notting Hill Carnival here, which always ended up in riots. I was one of the kids throwing rocks and bricks at the police. And then when I was I must have been about 14, 13. And, you know, as I said, my father was a Muslim and we were going to the mosque.
Right.
And as we're walking down, it was Eid, just at the end of the month of Ramadan. And we're walking down this road. And we get to this junction, and there's thousands of people. And in the middle of a junction, there's a black officer directing traffic. Now, what you've got to understand is that at that time, there were no black officers. I had never, ever seen
a black officer. Yeah.
Right? It was like, you know, I've just seen aliens from Mars. And he was standing in the middle of the road and he was directing traffic, and he went like that and all the cars stopped. And what it did for me, it's like electricity went through me. And I think what I didn't realize, but what it was, is it was the first time I'd seen a black person in a position of power.
Yeah.
Right? That he was in control. And that just had a massive impact on me. And I said to my dad, that's what I want to do. And my dad's attitude was, not over my dead body. And he just slapped me round the face.
Wow. This is crazy.
They were really enjoying them. But something about that planted a seed. And then years later, so much stuff happened in between. You know, I mean, what's not in the film is that I was sent to Nigeria.
What? We need a miniseries, G. I need a mini. I'm calling the BBC one. We need the miniseries. Now, I know, for those that don't know, I've been speaking with, I call him Mr. G, but Gamal Turawa. He's the first openly gay black Met police officer. He has an award-winning documentary called The Black Cop. It'll be featuring this Saturday, brought to you by Optimista. It's called Courage. You won an award. You won the BAFTA 2022 BAFTA Best Short Film Award. I need the BBC miniseries. With everything, with the worldwide attention around the Black Cop, how does it make you feel knowing that your story is being told and shared around the world, and especially amongst visible minorities like myself, like ourselves, like black guys? Like, I'm looking at this like I didn't even think about the experience of a black police officer in the Met, because when I think about the Met and I watch a lot of BBC shows, I just think about white police officers. You're like a real life Luther. You're like a real life Luther. Like, this is amazing. Like, gee, you're a real life Luther. And I need the BBC One series. But all that to say, how do you feel knowing that your story is being shared worldwide and having it out there? Do you feel a bit more exposed? Do you feel a bit more vulnerable? Or do you welcome the fact that people can now experience the experiences that you went through?
Well, I mean, look at how excited you are.
Yeah.
How can I not be proud of that? Right. And you know, one of the things that's got me is that it touches people from all sorts of backgrounds.
Yeah.
Not just, you know, black people get something from it, but I've had emails from Australia, I've had emails from Romania, and you know, all sorts of different places. But one of the things it does, which makes me really, really proud, it encourages people to share their own stories.
Yeah.
I've had stories of people who've said, I've seen your film, I took it home, I showed it to my family. I made my kids watch this. I made my parents watch this. And it just created really good conversation amongst us.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what it's about. We need to get to a place where we can talk about these issues.
Yeah.
Talk about them from a place of how do we grow rather than from a place of blame or shame or guilt.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, okay, how do we get through this?
Let me ask you this, G. What is next for you? Because, you know, I can't wait to meet you on Saturday. I want to shake your hand, take a picture with you, because I can only imagine the atrocities, the obstacles, the battles you've had to go through, and you're still in good spirits. You still have a positive attitude. You're not angry at white people in the UK. And that says a lot, because I think a lot of us black males, you know, going through our experience being black and dealing with the police, it creates a bad taste in our mouth. And it's hard for us to go beyond that and say, listen, we're all people at the end of the day. And every police officer is not bad. Every police officer is not racist. And we have to kind of break through that kind of ideology within the black community as a whole. Yeah. So I'm wondering to myself, what's next for you? Award-winning documentary, The Black Cop. I want to urge everybody to go take it in. It's emotional. Get your tissue papers ready. But what will be next for you? A book?
Good. Well, I'm writing a book at the moment, yeah. But I'm open. I mean, if you'd said to me at the beginning of the year, you'll be going to Canada to do a talk at a film festival, I would have laughed in your face. If you told me that I was going to win a BAFTA, I would have laughed in your face. If you told me there's so much that has happened this year that I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm open to anything and everything. I think one of the lessons I've learned, the biggest lesson I've learned, is that you have to let go of the negativity.
Yeah, please give us that. Give us those gems, G. You know,
you have to let go of the negativity. You have to, because, you know, when you're angry, the only person it destroys is you.
Yeah.
And you know, I look at it now, and one of the statements I mean, the way I dress now, if I'm going to an event or anything, I dress in African garbs.
Yeah, as you should. Yeah. Be proud for you.
And I want to show people. I want to be that person in the room that wasn't there when I needed them. So when I go into that room, I want to show people that, look, you can be you.
Yeah.
You can be you. And, you know, it's taken me a long time to learn that lesson.
Yeah. Easier said than done, G. Easier said than done. But it's something to aspire for. It's a way of thinking to aspire for. I think you're an amazing man. I can't wait to meet you once again. Montreal, my city, been speaking with Gamal Turawa. I call him Mr. G. He has the award-winning documentary called The Black Cop. It's going to be featured this Saturday, brought to you by Optimista Courage. I'm going to put the information in our link tree. G, I can't wait to meet you on Saturday. What a beautiful story.
Likewise, man. Likewise. Your energy is awesome.
I got to come to the UK and do BBC. Hold on.